Welcome into the Capital PTBO Sports Show. Jordan Mercier here alongside Mark Millian, producer Maddie as well. You can always come down and check us out. We are on George Street in Peterborough. A lot of moving and shaking going on here, Mark. It feels like we're in an old newspaper building. There's a printing press behind us.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it feels like.
They kind of like, when you watch those old, and I didn't watch Mad Men, but I wish I had.
Great show.
Oh, really? You watched it?
Outstanding.
I kind of like the idea of the old newsrooms and the clickety-clack, and, everybody's got the deadlines and they're rushing, whatever, to get the first edition out. Because they had a first edition, second edition.
And then an afternoon paper, yep.
I really miss those days. I have a hot take that I've had for a long time that the newspaper is going to come back. Because I think it's really the only way anymore that you can almost vet the news.
If this was Mad Men, your glass of water would have been an old-fashioned. That was the old Don Draper classic. Nice little orange slice in there.
I wouldn't have done that. If I was running a Mad Men, a 1960s ad agency, never mind the staunch debauchery of the time. Like, we wouldn't even talk about that. We would have been, if you come into the Capital PTBO, at the front door, you'll be greeted by Johnny Danko, the original Czech sports director.
Yep.
You see this guy? He's got like that old school, he's got the cigar, like you can just
Buddy
picture.
Holly glasses.
Yeah, Buddy Holly glasses. You can just picture the hot takes this guy's spewing out of the mic. Like, a terrific. That's the way. I'll bring the newspaper back, but that's the way you'll have to dress for work every day.
Can we start with a funny John Badham story?
Yes.
Like, really quick. We got a lot
terrific.
to get to, by the way. We got Battle of Alberta. We got an update on our bracket challenge, Colin Kaepernick, French. We got emails out the wazoo this week. But I got a funny one. Just while we're talking about old school media, and you said debauchery. And we all know the way women are treated in the workplace today is much more appropriate than what it would have been 40
much
or 50
more
years
civil.
ago. And listen, of course, it should have been like that all along, but
Sure.
let's acknowledge that there was a time where men behaved in a certain way that was, discriminatory and not good.
Absolutely.
So John was telling me about a time when he was working in Saskatchewan at a radio station, late 50s, and I made just some sort of backhanded comment to him about, I bet, he said, he was talking about how you used to drink at your desk and smoke and all that stuff, right? Which is fine. And I made a comment to him where I said, I bet that was back in the day where if you had a female secretary, you'd give her a little pat on the behind. And he stops, he goes, whoa, whoa. And I thought, oh my God, I offended him. He hung his head in the air and said, those were good days. I might even have told that story. I was one of the people who gave his eulogy back in 2016. I might even have told that story, but again, just for jokes, people. That's all.
No
that
kidding.
is.
Yeah, 100%.
Just for jokes. Relax.
Yeah, right.
We're not doing the Ricky Gervais thing here.
Yeah,
okay?
sure.
All right.
Just quickly on Gervais, though. I go back to his Golden Globes thing all the time. I still pop every single time he tells the DiCaprio joke. Like, the whole thing's gold. If you've never seen it, if you didn't watch it, which I don't understand how you couldn't have seen it now. Oh my gosh.
Well, it's especially funny to look back given the prism of the Will Smith, Chris Rock stuff.
Yeah.
Where it was like, wow, Ricky Gervais. And
Gervais is ruthless.
And much like the Academy Awards this year, the Golden Globes have a different setup where people are really close to you with tables. And if they want to come up and take a swing, they probably could. But that was a few years ago when people weren't as crazy.
Yeah.
So
Judi Dench joke. Oh my God. Anyhow.
Producer Matty, what's going on over there, brother?
Not much.
Feeling all right today?
I am. It's switched around our streaming platform, so the chat is actually in a different window today.
Oh,
So
okay.
If I missed a comment, that's the excuse. Excuse of the week.
Boys, I got to tell you, this is the last time that we're going to be recording this on Friday.
Yeah.
And this is the last episode that will not be on television on your TV.
That's right.
Which I'm excited for.
big
Of
deal.
course, June the 2nd, 7 p.m. We're going to talk a little bit more about that a bit later because I did get an email regarding our thoughts on the delay of the MSL season. So originally our show was going to be a lead-in for the Lakers. Now it might be a lead-in to election night coverage, which, by the way, is June the 2nd.
That's right. June the 2nd, the same night.
So it'll go right from us to, Jim Hendry, whatever.
Yeah, Jimmy.
Jeff Leal.
Yeah, sure.
Political pundits. I mentioned we've got a busy show, and the Battle of Alberta probably going to take up a bulk of this. There's so many layers here. There's so many things that we need to get to. So first of all, let me sit back and just ask both of you gentlemen. Entertainment value, where was the Battle of Alberta in terms of recent playoff memory. I think Toronto-Tampa Bay was a better series, more compelling, obviously 7 games, and there were a whole bunch of storylines.
Yeah.
But in terms of just feeling like you're watching an acid trip almost with the weird stuff that was going on and the amount of goals, we'll get into Draisaitl and McDavid, but it was entertaining.
I think that for me, it was terrific theater without it being over the top. 9-6 opener certainly was, that's a barn burner. But then as the series went along, it was very much like surprisingly one-sided. I never really felt that Calgary really had, any sort of jam whatsoever. And maybe it's the other way. If Edmonton can go all the way here, they can pull all the way through. This is a 1984 type of performance. Like, this is a once in a generation type performance. If Connor and Leon can continue to do, through the next 8 wins, it's on a Herculean level. There's no 2 ways about it. It absolutely is.
They both realistically could end up with 40 points, which
40 points.
So they're both at 26 right now.
I think only Gretzky and Mario have done it.
That's it.
I think Coffey had a 39, and that was sort of the next best guy.
Yeah.
So this series gave us a
Yep.
15-goal game to open,
Yep.
which included 2 goals in the first 51 seconds.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then Edmonton comes back and wins the next 4. But in the process, Leon Draisaitl gets 17 points in 5 games.
In 5 games.
5 games.
Which is good for
on a bad ankle, so they said.
On a bad ankle, allegedly, which is good for 3rd all time. He's the only guy in the top 9 to make that list with just 5 games.
5 games, yeah.
Mike Smith gives up a 132-foot goal,
Right.
which you think is like the turning point of the game, and then they end
Big
up winning.
backbreaker, and then it's like, no, didn't really matter. They won in regulation anyways.
Matthew Tkachuk tells Evander Kane, or asks him if he needs any money. And then Evander Kane comes out and gets a hat
Ridiculous.
trick.
I loved it.
Vander Kane, you want to talk about record watch? If he's already at 12 goals.
12 goals, yeah, 19.
Still a lot of goals, but I guess it'll all depend on whether or not they can advance past the next round or have a deep series.
So I think, even going into that next round, I know there's a lot of the things to talk about with Alberta, but I mean, Colorado, this is going to be fire wagon, no? Colorado can't stop anybody either.
Yeah.
So it's just going to be, last possession wins. Like, it's going to be 10-9 every night.
If we get McDavid and McKinnon, it's going to be such a blast.
McDavid
Oh my gosh.
and McKinnon, because it wasn't that long ago. I want to rewind maybe 3 years where there was some McKinnon's the best hockey player in the world chatter.
Absolutely, there was.
I think that's, a bit in the rearview mirror, which I don't want to hear anyone talk about, McDavid not being the best player.
That discussion's long over now.
It's crazy to think. And I know what you're saying, Matt, because you're the champion of the Leon Draisaitl wagon who's like, hey, wait a minute. He's doing just as cool of things as Connor McDavid, but it's obvious that, one's even slightly pulling the other, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
I know you're a Leon guy.
Both of these
He's
guys.
disrespected. There's no doubt.
Yeah, both of these guys. Like, Leon put up 4 points, I think, 3 different times in these 5 games.
Yeah.
Well, he's
That's so crazy to me.
the only guy to have 3-point game in every single game. 5 for an entire series. Five games. That's never happened before.
So if we just focus on Edmonton for a second,
Yeah.
overall as a team, chance to actually win the Stanley Cup? Is there a chance to win the Stanley Cup? I'm going to say no, and the only reason I'm going to say no is that, we talk about Mike Smith. I just cannot see him putting together a string of games that would beat Colorado or Tampa Bay.
That's it.
Sorry, Mike.
Yeah. There's never been a team that's won with subpar goaltending. It's never happened.
No.
Not all of the greats have ever won.
Yeah.
But you can't win and have guys who can let in 5 or 6 a night, and maybe you can score 7 to win. Eventually, the Tampa Bays, the Vasilevskis will slow you down. Colorado, I don't feel like the goaltending's really there with Francouz and Kemper. So I think they have enough firepower to get to the Stanley Cup final, but a good defense can stall a strong offense.
Was this a bigger Edmonton success story or a bigger Calgary disappointment story? Talk about the Calgary Flames. This is a 50-win team.
Mm-hmm.
This is a team with home ice advantage against their arch rival. It's a team that wins a crazy game 1, and then sort of to the point you made, kind of a whimper after that.
Yeah.
We could talk about the disallowed goal and maybe what that means. They might win that game, but they might not. They scored a 132-foot goal, and then they ended up losing.
Oh, we had 4 goals in a minute 11 last night,
Which was
Yeah.
also...
which is also an NHL record.
Yeah.
I think we're on record last week. If we could get the guys in the truck to rewind it, last week's take was I think we were on the side of, I think Calgary is in bigger trouble than what the Oilers were after game 1, because I feel like allowing 6 goals on a team defense first, 9 shutouts, William M. Jennings trophy team
Yeah.
is bigger trouble. I think Calgary, I think this is a look in the mirror. They've got some questions in the offseason too. Johnny Gaudreau's got to get signed. He's an unrestricted. How much money can you put into this guy?
Amazing season for Johnny Gaudreau. And again, somebody who didn't get nominated for the Hart Trophy, but could have. On a regular kind of year, he was that good. In the playoffs, 6 points in 5 games, only 1 goal in the series.
1 goal.
3 goals in the playoffs, yeah.
Obviously outplayed by the superstar counterparts of the Edmonton Oilers. So I think if you're Calgary, I think you want to keep him. I think 114-point guys don't grow on trees.
No, for sure.
But if you're Johnny Gaudreau, maybe there's a lure to kind of get into a different program.
I'd hope not.
I blinked and he's 28. I still thought he was like 24.
Right. You do. You look at him and you still think the same thing. This is, he's 3 years in. No, Gaudreau, and he plays in a system where it is defensive first. With Daryl. Daryl is we prevent the goals before we score the goals. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what happens this offseason for Calgary.
Connor McDavid, let's go back there for a second, because I think there's so many different ways we can go. Matt, you and I were talking about this at the office. I'm seeing this more and more. TSN did a big article on it. I think it's been riffed around on ESPN as well. Just the notion that Connor McDavid, we are watching the greatest ever to perform this sport. Now, it's a weird argument where you start peeling layers and go, okay, you're not necessarily anointing him as the greatest hockey player ever, but you were saying subjectively, we've never seen an individual perform at this level. And of course, people would just go back and say, look, Gretzky's got all the records, but let's be honest, obviously shoddy goaltending, just a different game. Different game, different equipment, which I always bring up to people.
Yep.
Wayne didn't have the same nutrition. Wayne didn't have the composite sticks. Wayne had heavier equipment. Wayne, blah, blah. That's why, to me, when you're comparing greatest ever, you can only do so. How far ahead of somebody of his peers was he at the time?
Absolutely.
People talk about the early 80s like everyone was getting 180 points and Wayne was getting 200, and it wasn't that big of a deal. That wasn't the case.
There was
literally one guy getting 200 and winning scoring titles with assists. It's different.
Yeah, it's different.
But there's this notion that, okay, no one's ever been as fast. No one's ever been as, poignant on the ice as this. And the only question I asked you, Matt, because I understand that, are we just that quick to disregard Sidney Crosby? We're just okay, I think McDavid and Crosby are different players, but are we, we're not really having this conversation 15 years ago with Sidney Crosby, but that's a guy who did some pretty cool things and obviously perennial champion and leader and, is going to go down as, easily a top 10 player in the history of the game. I just can't believe how quickly we're sloughing off some of the Crosby stuff. Or even Ovechkin, if you throw him in that category.
It's strange that they're not 1 and 1A.
Yeah.
I think... Again, I think maybe we're a generation where we've talked about this before with other athletes in other sports where there's maybe a little bit of fatigue where we want to kind of pass the mantle on.
We spent too long talking about Crosby, Ovechkin.
Or we've spent enough time with Crosby and Ovechkin and now understanding that Alex will have his due if he scores, how many goals is he behind Gordy? He's 40-some behind Gordy. So
probably next year, if not the year after.
And I think he may be even better than that. But next year, if he has the same sort of year, which again defies logic, but he's doing it.
Mm-hmm. He's 21 behind Gordy.
So 21 behind Gord, and which puts him, 110 behind Wayne. If he gets close, we'll have that. And then you can have that discussion about legacy and these sorts of things. Connor's won 2 rounds. He's been historic in the wins. It's 2 rounds. Sid is still golden goal, 3-time Stanley Cup champion, multiple MVPs, Conn Smythes. He's done it. There's a lot of guys that are on the fence too. It's a Kobe LeBron. It's it's Alex and Sid. It's, Alex, while scoring 800 goals, has as many points as Crosby does.
I just couldn't imagine being Crosby and maybe, waking up and reading those headlines and being like, you know what, I was pretty good. And I still am pretty good.
I thought about that because you asked me this a few days ago.
Let it marinate with you.
I think the reason nobody was saying this about Crosby 10, 15 years ago was because when he was McDavid's age, he was getting hurt a lot. Like a lot.
Injuries played a role.
Yeah,
Injuries are going
he had
to
the ankle.
Yeah, injuries are going to prevent Sidney from having any sort of records in the counting stats. There's no doubt about it. But he also got 120 points as a 19-year-old.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we've watched McDavid. Hey, look at Connor McDavid, best in the world. Amazing. He's going to be generation. I think is he the greatest hockey player in the world debate's probably been put to bed for the next decade. Just based on, the last couple of I just was amazed at let's think about this. Greatest ever to do it. Okay, well, we've seen some pretty good play. And Sidney Crosby, after he won that next Conn Smythe and got his, 500th goal a couple of years ago, they sort of redid the 100 greatest players. And now you're seeing Crosby sort of in that 5 slot. Yeah. And we've talked about this, right? We've got the basic 4.
Yeah.
Wayne, Bobby, Gordy, Mario.
Yeah.
Then there's sort of like personal preference. So you got Sid, you got Beliveau, you got Richard.
Yeah.
And a lot of people were inching Sid up that category. And ironically, Ovechkin wasn't even making most lists, which I know there's a bit of a North American bias. But
sure.
Anyways, I just thought it was an interesting talking point because I think it was TSN.ca that did something.
Justin says Crosby spent a lot of time making everyone around him better. Is McDavid doing that?
Interesting question.
Yeah, it really could be because you going back to your point of the 120 points as a 19-year-old kid, like take a look at the guys he's playing with. Mm-hmm. I mean, a couple of those guys are doing podcasts now, not as good as this, but they're doing them. like
Bill Guerin and
Ryan Whitney and Paul Bissonnette and holy crap! Like you're talking about guys that, Connor's playing with Draisaitl isn't exactly the Rob Brown to Mario Lemieux here. Like he could go and he could play somewhere else and be fine, be a 90, 100-point guy. But Connor's a 150-point guy.
Yep.
Sidney Crosby got Chris Kunitz on an Olympic team.
True. No kidding. Look at the careers this guy's made. How's Jake Gunsel and Sid Crosby together?
Yeah.
Like, holy smokes. I think they showed a stat that 44% of Gunsel's playoff goals came from Sid.
Yeah.
Bo Bennett's another guy like that.
These are guys that are getting paid.
I think
we're a little early on. I love watching McDavid, but we're early on give me the best player in the world type speech. Okay. He's good today.
Now, Matt.
Yep.
Is part of that we were looking up playoff numbers. And this sounds extremely bizarre to say about somebody who's got 3 cups and 2 Conn Smythes. But Crosby, I don't feel ever had that one playoff where it was like 15 goals, 38 points. Like they win in 09. Malkin clearly the MVP of that team.
Right.
So 36. His best playoff was 09.
Yeah.
15 goals, 16 assists.
Okay, so I was close. But he was outshone by Malkin, who won the Smythe.
That's right.
And then he kind of backed into a couple of very iffy reputation Smythes. Right?
Yes.
So his next, after that year, he had 19 points in 13 games. And then he has 8, 15, 9, 4, which is they get bounced to the first round.
Yep.
And then the 2 years they won the Cup, he's got 19 and 27.
27 is a good year. But again, not what we're talking about with McDavid.
Well, McDavid's got 26 now.
I know, exactly.
It's a historical thing. It's a historical. Like we went back, Justin and I went back and looked at 84 Gretz.
Yeah.
And the Oilers, thinking like, is McDavid, Draisaitl, what they're doing, is it Gretzky Curry-esque? So they had, at that point, this is before Game 5, 47 points in 11 games. Between the two of them, 25 and 22. Wayne, of course, scored 47 in 18 games. Curry was number 3 on that team. Curry scored 31. Coffey was the number 2. To put it in that sort of context, that Connor's he's having a historical, and to have Leon as the footnote here, it seems very strange. And Evander Kane, even the bigger footnote, at 12 goals, chasing down Rick Middleton and is it Middleton and Leach?
19?
19 is just Rick.
It's Curry and Rick.
That's right. Yeah. So I think like going to McDavid for me, nice player, but a historical difference. And I think that's the reason why you're getting the best player in the world talk.
They've played 12 games, 7-5, and they've got those two have combined 52 points.
Yeah.
It's crazy. It is crazy.
It's unfair to a point.
Shifting gears ever so slightly, the champs roll on. They are the first real three-peat threat since the Islanders. So the Penguins go back-to-back in 91-92, losing the second round on the David Volek goal.
Volek, yeah.
Red Wings go back-to-back in 97-98, losing the second round to Colorado. I'm still bitter. They were up 2-0
They
in
were
that
up,
series
yeah.
and
I
lost
was going to
4
say,
in
I
a row.
thought they were, yeah.
And then Crosby and the Penguins, 16-17, they also lose in the second round. So the champs took care of business. But the Florida Panthers, really?
Holy smokes.
Really?
Like the Florida House Cats. You believe, like, legit. You have a cat? You don't have a cat. Latour, you a
once
cat
upon
guy?
a time.
I had a cat. Like my parents have a cat.
You know the way the cats, like, they roll over, like, scratch my belly. And every once in a while, maybe if they're not happy, they'll, like, give you a swipe.
Yep.
That's what happened every once in a while in the series. Joey Thornton is up in the press box, rolling over, scratch my belly. Barkov. How many guys were watching, like, the passengers on this team?
Huberdeau.
Yep.
That must have been their Stanley Cup. Like, congratulations, fellas, we got it to the first round. Oh, you got Claude Giroux. Yeah, we brought Claude in to try to win, and we brought Joey in for some leadership, and they've got a great young nucleus. But holy smokes. So either one of two things. Either Tampa Bay is the perennial, we got into trouble in the opening round, and now we're going to start to roll.
Sharpen the spear, win 6 straight. Yep.
Vasilevsky now is all the way back, or Florida just mailed it in for 4 straight, which I have a hard time believing. I feel like it's the former.
I look at teams, and I said this about the Leafs last year. When they go out and they get leadership pieces that have never won a cup, I never understand it.
I know. No kidding.
Like you look at the Oilers, they went out and they got Duncan Keith. Like the guy or not, based on everything happened in Chicago. Sure, he won 3 cups.
Yep.
At least 2, definitely 3.
How many?
sure.
How
Conn
many
Smythe.
people would have? How many playoff teams regret not having a Corey Perry?
Exactly. That's last year.
And
Last year the Habs had Corey Perry. I said, all right, well they got Perry, and Toronto got Thornton. One of those guys has a cup.
I know Perry's not a perennial winner, and I know Pat Maroon's not going to be the guy that's also going to be chasing Stanley Cups. But you need these sort of guys, the guys that have been through the rigors before, to understand what it takes.
It's funny you mentioned Pat Maroon. Do you want to throw that stat
I've
out
got
that
it.
you saw?
I think it's on my phone.
So consecutive series 1.
I got it. Yeah.
Oh, Maroon must have like 14 or 15 or something.
14 straight series.
Yeah.
Second only to the New York Islanders between 1980 and 1984.
Oh, they got like 19 or something?
Yeah.
18?
Yeah. And then
oh, my God.
The Habs from 76 to 80 have 13.
13, yeah.
So Pat Maroon is the franchise. He's the dynasty.
Maroon. Can you imagine carving out that kind of career?
I'll
4
take
cups,
it.
fellas.
Sign me up.
He's Big Shot Bob, though. No Hall of Fame for Pat.
Well, this happened a couple years
Oh,
ago
smokes.
in the NBA. The Raptors had a guy that won back-to-back championships with Golden State. Not a good player.
Yeah, they did, and I
jeepers.
don't remember.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can find his
Rivas
name.
Vasquez.
Like a guy that barely played.
He must have
Jorge
barely played.
Garbajosa.
Yeah, no kidding. He's on that level.
Let's see. I'll find his name.
Anyways,
Anyways.
it's Florida. I mean, anytime you're a President's Trophy winning team and you get swept,
Pat McCaw.
Pat McCaw.
Okay.
Anytime that happens, ironically, the last time that happened was Tampa Bay on their 62-win team that got swept by
Punched out by Columbus.
But
Yeah.
I kept waiting for more. And unfortunately for you Leaf fans, I think the Leafs would have rolled the Panthers too.
Yes.
Yep.
I don't know if it would have been a sweep, but I think they would have. That series, both those teams were playing at such a high level.
Yeah.
And then Florida comes in, kind of mediocre Washington team,
Yeah.
iffy series.
Florida backs into the second round.
And I think the Leafs rolled them in 4 or 5-2.
Yeah.
That's-
That's again that's unfortunate. That's the shame in Leaf fandom is we can't say that out loud. Because all the haters then they
I'll make fun of you. If
They
you do.
no right exactly. They run out from underneath their little rock and they stand up on top and here it is time of year again where all you Leaf fans would have said who won if you'd not have gone through but you didn't get through. Well, we would have got through. Would have punched Florida in the face. Big time.
Staying committed to reading all comments. Mitchell Jeffrey says, "We love us some Matthew Latour."
Oh,
Thank you, Mitchell.
selective.
some self-serving.
We've got 2 comments on this one.
We don't have any other
Self-gloss.
self-gloss?
Justin and Mitchell. That's it.
Do we have an update on the Capital PTBO $1,000 bracket challenge supported by our good friend Dave Dixon of IG Wealth Management? The only thing I'm going to say here is our Doyle, I ran into a wagon.
Oh my gosh.
And that's probably the most lopsided second round match. I thought I was all cute with my Rangers.
Oh my gosh.
But here's the thing. If you didn't pick McDavid and Draisaitl, you're probably pretty screwed.
So
How about Mark Million being bounced from the semifinals before getting to the semifinals?
okay, Latour. Whose segment is it? Is it yours or is it mine? Like, I'll tell the
Dave
jokes
Dixon's.
here. Actually, it is David's, but I'll tell the jokes here. Okay, so Bodog probably now has Garrett Sackerty at Sax84 on Instagram. You'll probably find he would be the odds-on leader right now at probably a 1-to-1, considering he's got 5 guys going into the third round that are already guaranteed, and he's got the Oilers.
Reminder, he dispatched Graham Elliott in
Correct.
the opening round.
The 2021 NCAA champ went down in a heap of flames. So Sackerty is the clubhouse leader in terms of points. To complete that bracket, Justin, who has the Justin Million of fame here at the store, is currently down by 18 points to Sackerty. And while Garrett has nobody left that he can score, Justin needs a miracle from Sebastian Aho and from Seth Jarvis. Not the type of guys that probably deliver.
9 points each.
9 points, and even then we'd have to count up the goals. On the other side, so then Rick Doyle will end up having to play Sackerty, who you've played against Rick. Rick lost 3 guys last night, right? So he lost Mangiapane, Lindholm, and Gaudreau. So a bit of an uphill battle, but it's Tampa versus Edmonton. So again, they're on separate sides of the conference. There's really no dogs in the fight. All the other matchups are all finished pretty well.
Yeah.
Like, I dispatched my brother-in-law, Matt. He didn't even try, I don't think. My dad, Matt Daniels, down by 32.
Ooh.
Scott the Body Trewady. There was a lot of hype a couple of weeks ago.
Not now.
Team Providence has him by 15. Dustin Clark has Reed Trewady by 23, but Dusty D's only got 1 player going to the next round. So the Bodog.net, unofficial, because we don't really have odds with them, with Bodog.
No.
In fact, do we like Bodog?
I think we like them.
Oh, we do. Okay.
love
I wasn't sure because I know.
I like you, Dog.
Well, there's an opportunity here, right?
There is absolutely an opportunity.
Yeah.
We're looking for gaming sponsors.
We are looking for gaming sponsors. So this one
Any
would be
sponsors,
unofficial. Yeah, if you have a business. So Team Providence is on there. They're probably they're the 10, 15, 20 to 1. They're the long shot in the race. On the other side, my dad, he will play me in the next round. And unfortunately, I only have Evander Kane left. And my dad has Evander Kane plus 6 other guys or something.
That's all you have left moving forward?
Yeah. I lost Gaudreau. I lost Lindholm, like a couple of passengers. And then I had Matthews, of course. And anyways, so I can't beat him. So he's 2-1 fave. Sackerty is the favorite. And then on the other side, it's tight. Lisa's got 99 against my mom. My sister versus my mom. She's up by 9, so she'll probably advance. And then Noah Crowley again. Crowley, where you been, B? You texted me. You were all hot about how good you were. You took 4 St. Louis Blues. Doesn't look good for you. Shane Forbes has you by 21 points. So Forbes is the 4th guy. Bodog's got him in there. Lisa's got a lot of Oilers, but she has like the wrong Oilers. Like she's got Yamamoto, Tyler Toffoli, who went down.
Nugent Hopkins.
No, she doesn't have Nuge, but she has who's the other dude? Anyways, Zach Hyman, who had himself a game. So all in all, as strange as it is to get into the second round, there's probably really only 4 people that have a shot left, and really, if you want to put 20-1 odds down at Team Providence, we'll take your bet.
That is the update for the Capital PTBO $1,000 bracket challenge supported by Dave Dixon of IG Wealth Management. Go and check out our good friend Dave. He will tell you everything you need to know about investments and financial planning.
Correct.
Golden State Warriors on to the NBA Finals for the 6th time in 8 years.
Yeah.
Pretty remarkable run, actually.
Absolutely it is.
Any kind of, basically, other than LeBron individually had a run like this, I mean, you're going back a ways for something like 6 out of 8. Very impressive stuff. The debate on most of the sports shows today is what would a 4th ring do for Steph Curry in terms of the overall pantheon? We know that would pull him equal with LeBron James. He'd have a better win-loss record in the finals. Has beaten LeBron countless times, I think 3 out of the 4 meetings. Mm-hmm. Rarefied air. So when you talk about superstars making it to a 6th finals, here's who I got. I got Bill Russell, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Magic Johnson, Jerry West, Michael Jordan, Shaquille O'Neal, LeBron James, Kobe Bryant, Wilt Chamberlain, Bob Cousy, Tim Duncan, and Elgin Baylor. That's my list.
Wow.
Of superstars that were the best players on their teams to get to the finals. Good company. Let's just say that. Hall of Fame company. We know he's in the Hall of Fame already.
Those
He's
are all top
revolutionized the
75
sport.
guys, yeah.
But what will it mean? Because I think even if Steph Curry ends up with the same or more rings than LeBron James, he's not LeBron James.
No.
He's not LeBron James.
He's a guy, I think the greatest, when you separate, once you get to that top 5, these are guys that within a generation revolutionized the game in some sort of way.
Yep.
Michael certainly did it from the slam dunk aspect.
Sure.
He also, from a cultural aspect, Michael probably changed it better than anybody else. Steph will have done the same thing from the 3-point aspect.
Yep.
Being able to moneyball it the way that he has consistently at a pace that's been unbelievable. It's fundamentally changed how the game is played and defended. Now you've got to defend guys from 30 feet out.
You've got, as soon as they cross center court, you need a man on them.
Yeah. So, and these are worked plays now. So, for me, like, where does it stand with LeBron? LeBron is a different animal. LeBron is, he's 19 years. He's averaged 27 points in a 19-year career. He's gone to 10 NBA finals. Teams built their team around LeBron aging out in the East so they had a shot. You're building your team based on what another individual on another team is doing. That's not the case in Golden State. Golden State went out and Clay he's a hometown guy, right? He's homegrown talent. But you chase KD, you had Iguodala. Draymond is a hometown guy.
Yeah.
So, so you can't begrudge them for the hometown talent, the guys that they drafted and brought along. LeBron tried to do the same thing in Miami, and I can appreciate that one time.
I just think the ring counting of LeBron versus Michael was done for a very specific reason, because you were looking at 2 very comparable players who were the greatest of their generation. Mm-hmm. That it matters for Michael versus LeBron. Like, even if Steph Curry somehow rounds it out and gets like a 7th ring, it's not like people are going to be like, oh, Steph Curry's better than Michael Jordan. Like, that still won't happen. Mm-mm. It happened in this specific case because it was important in splitting the very microscopic hairs between 2 of, in my opinion, the 2 greatest players that have ever existed. So that's why I don't want to get lazy with now every superstar who wins 5 or 6 is going to be automatically vaulted to the front of the line. That's not what this is. This was made and digested for this one specific comparable. Mm-hmm. Now, it's certainly the more you win, the more you're going to go up that ladder. But nobody was saying, well, Tim Duncan, if he wins number 6, he's Michael. I mean, he's not Michael.
Right.
He's the greatest ever at his position. He's one of my favorite players of all time, but he's not. As you mentioned, you need to get into the top 5 all-time discussion before you start counting rings and all-stars.
Yeah, because to be fair, the top 5 discussion very seldom has the amount of rings that you have on.
Yeah.
It's not like that.
No.
Wayne's got 4.
Yeah.
Bob had 2.
Yeah.
So it has nothing to do with ring counting at that point. It's revolutionary. It's the points scored. You talk about, judging him by his peers. If Harden finishes at 2 in the 3 points of all time, mm-hmm. Steph is going to finish 800 threes ahead of him.
Yeah.
That is 60% of the NBA guys' careers. And that's probably, I would fair to say, attempts.
Yeah.
These were 800 threes that he's made over the number 2, James.
So, what I think hurts Curry is no Finals MVP.
Yeah, he needs to change that this
Durant
time.
got 2, Iguodala got 1.
That's right.
He needs
Iguodala
to change
is
that one this time.
Yeah.
When you look at guys that have, like, you had that list of superstars that have gone 6 times. How many of those guys have a final MVP?
Well, I would.
Well, Michael's got all of them, but
Yeah.
Most of those guys have at least.
Between
Shaq's got
Kareem-
3, Duncan's got 3.
Elgin Baylor.
Yeah, like if they gave the award back then, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But Magic Johnson obviously has a bunch.
But it's
Jerry
weird
West
'cause
might be the only one because I think he only won the one title.
that's right. He did only
He
win
made
one
it to
time. Yeah, he
8
made
or
it to-
9 and only won once.
But it's strange because Steph.
But you're right.
When you close your eyes and think about the Golden State Warriors for the last decade, you think of Steph Curry.
Yeah.
Some people will say Kevin Durant, but Steph Curry, never won a Finals MVP on
The
a dynasty.
NBA did to Steph Curry what I think should have happened in the NHL to Sidney Crosby if we want to go back, where Iguodala wins that one that, reputation-wise, it probably should have been Steph. Like, he was the best player on that team. Versus if you go back and look at the cases for Jake Gunsel or Matt Murray,
Sure.
they weren't going to get it over Crosby. Like,
No.
it just was not going to happen, even if their stat line sort of compared.
Iguodala got it for making LeBron look somewhat human.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
it.
He was an animal
guess.
defensively. Iguodala.
Raptors could have drafted Iguodala.
Yeah,
they
did.
went with
They went
Arujo.
Arujo, yeah.
And then Kevin
Instead.
Durant twice. I mean, he was a scoring machine.
Yeah,
both
that
of those
one
times.
is what it is. But anyways, interesting discussion. NBA playoffs, in my opinion, this has been one of the lamer playoffs.
We haven't had a good game in like 3 weeks.
every game, the home
It's a
team is up
blowout.
by 20,
Yeah.
30.
Turn it off.
And we're not the only ones thinking that. Like, marquee American personalities are saying, boy, this is not good. And now they're starting to reassess the play-in tournament. Are teams playing too much? If teams, are advancing but have had to play every other day for so long, now you're getting some of those blowouts because they're just out of gas.
Yeah.
I don't know. Something to be said there for sure. You were listening to the Capital PTBO Sports Show. Super excited. We've got emails.
Oh.
We've got emails coming in.
You've got mail.
Oh my gosh.
Mark loves the.
Can we?
You've got mail.
Like, do we fix that for
got
TV? No.
We're sampling it.
You don't like it?
Well, yeah. Go ahead and hit it
clean.
again. Sure. Yeah, it's clean.
You've got mail.
Oh, it sounds good.
A little bit of stuff.
Would you get that off your
Anthony.
Windows 95?
Jordan
like-
sent it to me and said we need this.
It's 98. We need it immediately.
Okay.
You've got mail.
This one's straight for Matt Latour.
Of course.
Who were each of your favorite wrestlers growing up?
Oh,
This was
boy.
from Anthony. Thank you, Anthony, for coming in. Who are your favorite wrestlers growing up? You can give a couple. Mark, I know you weren't a huge wrestling fan, but I like to get the wrestling content in there every now and then.
I had a few.
So for me, oh gosh, I hate to say it, it was Chris Benoit. And then everything happened with Chris Benoit, and then it wasn't Chris Benoit anymore. And then after that, I'd say it shifted Edge, Kane, those kind of guys.
CanCon, yeah, Edge,
yeah.
Orangeville Zone.
Orangeville's own. Yeah, I always like Kane. I like the Big Red Machine. Undertaker always had like an allure to him with the streak. Batista. I like the big guys.
Just everyone on the roster was Matt's favorite.
No, I
wrestlers
didn't. I
growing
didn't
up.
care for the Hurricane. I didn't care for Rosie. Eugene, get out of here.
Eugene.
Didn't need any of those guys.
There's
Rey
a character that
Mysterio was
would
one of
do.
my guys, though.
I did like Rey Mysterio, which I did not know until I married a woman who speaks Spanish. That I just thought it was Rey Mysterio. It's actually King Mysterious in Spanish.
Oh,
Oh, is that right?
Little Spanish fun fact.
Yeah,
for you.
little. Yeah.
What about you, Mark? Are we talking
Oh,
Rowdy Roddy, Macho Man?
I didn't get an appreciation for Rowdy Roddy till I was older. Because when you were a kid, it's like Hulkamania and
Yeah,
Ultimate Warrior, and you don't get an appreciation for Andre. I used to love Jake firing the snake on people. I
Yep.
used to like that as a kid. I used to like the Rockers. Marty
Oh.
Jannetty and Shawn Michaels,
Michaels?
because they were the first ones, like other than Superfly, which I didn't really watch. It was too early for me. But Marty Jannetty and Shawn, I mean, they were high flying. These guys would they got up off the top ropes pretty good.
Somewhere there was a discussion where one guy was like, "I think Marty's going to be the breakout star." It's like Keanu Reeves and Bill from Bill and Ted, the other guy.
The other guy's gonna make it.
just for the culture, Farouk and Goldust make my list as well.
Oh, Farouk and Gold.
Oh, all of a sudden.
All right, good list. I've got Hulkamania, just cause, and then even Hollywood Hogan I loved when he was in the NWO and all.
That was a good one.
The only time I didn't really like Hogan was after the steroid trial, where it was so obvious he went off the gas that he literally lost 100 pounds.
He
and it
looks
was
like
so
he's in like a
awkward.
deflated fat suit.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
Terrible when
Yeah,
he started
it was
WCW.
weird.
Brett the Hitman Hart,
Oh, sure.
Yep.
my guy. Doesn't matter, heel, face, when he was doing the Team Canada stuff in 97. And then it sounds trendy, but The Rock was my guy. And
was
like
entertaining.
heel Rock. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
I liked heel Rock. I didn't always love like when he got super over with the fans, but
Yeah.
there was a lot of good stuff there. Thank you, Anthony, for writing it.
Just quickly on Anthony's quick note there, when McGuire and Sosa were chasing Maris,
Yes.
and they used to cut in on Monday Night Raw or whatever the case was.
Yep, show the at-bats.
Yeah, and they showed the at-bats. I used to I loved Austin. I loved Steve Austin because the stunner and the bravado and the nonsense
Middle
afterwards,
fingers and-
the middle fingers, throw me the beers. Like I liked that aspect of it. I wasn't watching it then, but I liked it. Back up the beer truck, spray down McMahon, give him the stunner.
Yeah.
If you
the
grow
best.
like the goatee up, you're stone cold.
Am I stone cold today?
You're getting pretty close. You don't have the hat on. Come on.
Oh, cheapers.
Merrick emailed us, and we do have an audio accompaniment here. He says, Jordo, did you see the Wings Avs documentary trailer that aired earlier today, or if not last night on ESPN? It looks lit. Can we play that there, Maddie?
Claude, give us your definition of a rivalry.
Obviously a rivalry starts on the ice, but if it stays there, there's not that much to it. There's obviously a bunch of reasons why this has developed into a pretty good rivalry.
It seemed like he was proud of what he did, but in the end, karma's a bitch.
You pull back and hit it with everything that you got on the button. That, my friend, looking somebody in the eyes and hitting them is a cold call.
Oh, we were pissed. I just thought, like, I'm fucking grabbing somebody here. Someone's getting me.
These kinds of things just seem to keep happening when these two teams play.
There's a winner, there's a loser. You'll do whatever you have to do to be on the winner's side.
Why so hateful? I would say because they're pricks.
I fucking hate them. I'll always hate them.
What's your favorite memory of that rivalry with the Avalanche?
Beat them.
There you go.
That's unbelievable.
Vladimir Konstantinov at the end there. Beat them.
I didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah.
I
just
didn't
dropped
see
last
that.
night.
Is that right?
I wish there's probably just not enough footage, but I could have used a Last Dance, like 8-episode run.
Oh my gosh.
Do one on the Avs, one on the Wings, then maybe the first meeting in 97, then the second in 98, and then sort of gloss over the 99, 2000. I'm just super excited, and I'm glad. This is one of the reasons why I was happy when ESPN was able to get the rights back for the NHL, is I think they do cooler stuff than NBC ever did.
Absolutely.
And this is
I
one of
would
those
agree.
things.
Yeah, wow.
Great stuff. Yes, Merrick, I'm super excited about that. I got that circle. Johnny P says, any Lakers thoughts? So we're talking about the Peterborough Century 21 Lakers.
Yeah.
The Major Series lacrosse season has been postponed.
Yeah.
And this is a league that they played a tournament last year, but of course shut down in 2020. Last year there was a tournament. The Lakers haven't played at the Memorial Center since 2018 because they played the 1 year in the Evinrude Center. Just disappointing. It's just, as someone who came here who was excited about the league, I love the atmosphere around the team, and Peterborough does it so well. It's hard for me to give the league the benefit of the doubt when stuff like this goes on. I feel like it's too complicated a situation for us to get in, but basically there's litigation going forward. The Brampton Excelsior team was sold to an owner who wanted to move it to Owen Sound, but then there's a board of directors who said, no, you can't do that. And then the Ontario Lacrosse Association said, yeah, they have to move back to Brampton. And now the new owner's like, wait a minute, I'm going to sue you. So now they're saying because of the threat of litigation, they cannot go forward because it'll end up costing the league too much money.
Right.
just disappointing. That's the best way I can put it.
It is. So for like a place like Peterborough that's so lacrosse rich, I mean, first things first, there still will be a lot of lacrosse if major series, I mean, if it will be postponed, but there's still going to be a lot of lacrosse you'll be able to enjoy this year in the big year of 150 years here in Peterborough. You know, you still have Ennismore James gang, and you're still going to have, you know, OLA lacrosse. There's still going to be, and there's plenty of
Junior A Lakers.
Junior A League. Yeah, like you'll still be able to watch it. Very unfortunate. You know, and for a league that has pretty rich history here, you know, to get it down to the fact that they can't. It's unfortunate that you couldn't just like preclude that Brampton, Owen Sound, whatever you want to call it. The guy's an American, even at that. The guy that he's from Michigan or whatever it is. You know, how the metropolis of Owen Sound would be more attractive than Brampton, I can appreciate. Maybe like percentage based, maybe you'll get 3,000 people to an Owen Sound game as opposed to 3,000 people in Brampton. Again, an organization that's pretty steeped in tradition.
Very
Excelsior's,
successful once upon a time.
Between us and Peterborough, between them and Peterborough.
I've lived here almost 4 years, and I've never seen a Lakers game at the PMC.
Yeah, right.
I moved here a week after they won the Mann Cup.
Yeah.
I think there's going to be a lot of people who are excited about their return, but you got to start to think, like, if there's no season this time, like, I mean, fans are fickle, man. They'll find something else to do.
It's hard to get those things back once you lose them or once the landscape changes. That's hard. So we wish them obviously nothing but the best. You know, Lenny Powers and all those guys would, you know, at the OLA level for all the communities. But I mean, for Peterborough, it's, you know, it's big because we're the best. Like 100%.
This is what we have for sure.
This is, you know, a lot of the stars that play this sport came through here.
Last but not least here, Patricia. Yes, we have at least one female listener. Says, I've been listening all show. Haven't heard a single word about Top Gun Maverick.
Okay. Wait a minute. No. I can't wait a minute. Okay. So I'm on the record here as I'm not a movie guy.
No.
But Top Gun, okay.
Aviators, bomber jacket.
Sure. I can
beach
get behind
volleyball.
it. I can get behind it.
This movie's going to suck.
Why can't we just leave things the way they were?
Thank you.
Can't you just rerun Top Gun? What did Top Gun come out, 86?
86.
Okay. So here we are, 96, 06, 16.
It's been a while.
Can't we, like, why is it on the 36th anniversary do we have to have something come out? Why can't we just have, like, a reboot 35 years later? Like, well, last year, COVID. Okay, maybe. Maybe we could have saved it for 40. Tom does a few stunts, whatever. There's still like the old drill sergeant, the old bald-headed guy is still in the movie. He's twice the age of water now.
I don't know if you're referring to Michael Ironside, the Canadian.
I don't know.
Oh, you don't know.
I have no idea. He was bald back in 86.
The biggest, I had an argument with my friends. The biggest, this is going to be hard, but we think the biggest part of the legacy of Top Gun would be the call signs.
Sure.
No kidding. You could argue Tom Cruise himself because this was really 86 was very much a launching pad.
Yeah, he was coming of age. Color of Money,
year.
Days of Thunder, all those things happened in a couple of years, sure.
Anyways, I'm super excited. I know my man Graham Elliott's already got tickets going tomorrow.
I know, I've seen that. Like he got
first movie he's been doing years.
He's gonna get the nerd herd when he comes through here. It's gonna be no.
I've seen so many old movies that come back with some kind of remake or a sequel that's way too overdue, and they've not been good.
But this one feels different because it even won the Palme d'Or at the Cannes Film Festival. Could that be nostalgia? Maybe, but
no,
movie can't
because
stink.
That's right. Yeah, they wouldn't put it out there like that. Tom is still a threat every time. He's still a box office threat. I guarantee it. It'll have some staying power. It'll be entertaining, but. Sometimes we can just leave these things. Is there not another Marvel movie to make? Like, haven't we made 47 of them already?
Thor: Love and Thunder comes out next month.
Oh, my goodness.
The quiz today, because you guys just sort of alluded to it. We're calling an audible on the fly here. The category is 1986.
Oh. Why do you do this? Am I playing Cher the last time ever?
This is the last time we're ever playing.
Yeah, we're going to play it.
Give us a run.
Strike ball one. Here comes the pitch. Strike three. A no-hitter, a perfect game. national athlete in the world today. Look at this. He's I don't believe it. I don't believe it.
This is going to go poorly.
All right, 1986 is the category in honor of Top Gun. I called an audible. Originally, it was going to be CFL single season records,
which is equally as bad
because
For
they reached
you.
a deal and the preseason is starting. So I thought, but we're going to go 19.
I was 7 here. You watch the pop
I was
culture. I'd be able
negative
to-
10.
Well,
My parents hadn't met.
your parents were still cool.
All right, 1986 on the fly. Matt, I'm going to give you one right in your wheelhouse to start.
Okay.
The 1986 Stanley Cup was won by the Montreal Canadiens.
If that was the question, I would have been fine.
No, well, that's not the question.
Which Canadiens player set Stanley Cup final record for the fastest overtime goal, doing so against the Calgary Flames? I want to say it
9
was
seconds?
9 seconds, yeah.
Vincent Damphousse.
The ultimate irony here is that it's not Damphousse. The ultimate irony is this player later went on to play against or for the Calgary Flames. Brian Skrudland.
It is, in fact, Brian Skrudland.
It's
Florida
good.
Panthers, too. He was on that 96
Correct.
Cup running team.
Oh, we'll hit the applause
Yeah,
later.
let me get the applause.
Oh,
There we
thank you.
All right, here we go. Question number 2.
Studio audience.
1986, a very memorable year in the NBA. Which superstar won an unprecedented third consecutive Most Valuable Player award?
Magic Johnson.
Comes right out with Madge.
Is that right?
No,
I don't know.
I thought
Not
you
at
were
all.
reaching. I thought you were reaching for the thing.
he was going to self-gloss himself. there.
Yeah, French Lick, Indiana's own Lawrence Bird.
Larry Bird. The Birdman.
Yeah,
Pretty good.
the guy was wild.
3 in a row. MJ didn't even do 3
No,
in a
that's
row.
right.
That's very protected. I think it was, if I'm not mistaken, Chamberlain and Bird. Like, those are the only two that have been able to do it. 1986 is the category. The World Series, fairly famous, won by the New York Mets.
Sure.
With the ball dribbling through Bill Buckner's legs. Gentlemen, who hit the ball? Who hit the ball?
On the Mets?
Yep.
I don't know. Anthony Rizzo.
Oh, jeepers.
Probably not born at that point.
Rizzo's not alive yet. This gentleman later went on to play admirably for the Toronto Blue Jays. His name is Mookie Wilson.
Feel like 1986 is right in the Mark Million wheelhouse here.
Yeah, that's. Oh. I think I pulled a Mookie Wilson card today.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, Mookie Wilson. Yeah.
1986 is your category. It was a very interesting year in the world of sports. That is for sure. So we've covered off. Why don't we go to the sport of football? Most valuable player, 1986. A defensive player.
It's not O.J. Simpson.
It was not O.J. Simpson.
Because that was my first guess.
Rare that a defensive player wins an NFL MVP. Doesn't happen often.
OJ was all offense.
William the Refrigerator Perry.
It's not the fridge or the right era, though. Of course, he was on the 85 Bears.
Now, 86 Defensive Player of the Year.
MVP.
Yeah, MVP. It's going to be Lawrence Taylor.
Yes.
But I
absolutely
We're wearing out this applause button.
But I for a second there, because was that the year Mark Gastineau and they had the sack exchange?
No, that was 83.
Oh, was it that
Yeah.
early? Mark Gastineau 83 sack exchange where he had
So-
like 20 sacks. They were just
He
him
had
and-
what some people still consider the record of 22.
22,
Strahan
yeah.
had that cheesy one.
That was a brutal one. Favre
Yeah.
just gave up at the end.
Although I guess J.J. Watt just
Yeah, that's
broke
right.
that,
25 or something, yeah.
William Perry won the Super Bowl in 1986, so I'll take
Correct.
that.
He did.
He scored a touchdown.
Lawrence Taylor led the league that year, 20.5 sacks, which is pretty remarkable for a linebacker. To
Yeah.
be able to pull that. There you go. That's it.
That was ugly.
Let me throw you one casual one here, just from my CFL record one. Most passing yards ever in a single game, 713.
Anthony Calvillo.
Only in the CFL. It is
Only-
not Anthony Calvillo.
only,
Although I suspect any quarterback thing that I would give, you'd say Anthony Calvillo,
There
Henry
was,
Burris.
you know what though? There was so many yardage honks in like the 80s and 90s in CFL.
I
I'm
think
gonna say
1994 for this one.
Matt Dunnigan.
It is Matt.
Yeah,
Dunnigan, too.
Dunnigan was the guy had a rubber arm. The guy was unbelievable. Dunnigan, yeah. But there was so many of those guys that had massive yardage numbers. Yeah, Matty Dunnigan.
That was a beatdown.
Yes,
That was tough.
That might be the most lopsided trivia we've had yet.
You got to go back and hit the history books a little bit, buddy.
I didn't think we'd be talking about 1986
Because
today.
of Top Gun, it all weaves in.
It's not a movie show.
That's my
Our
complaint.
trivia was based on the year a movie came out on our sports show.
You know what? Next
They play
week's
beach volleyball in Top Gun.
Yeah, next week's trivia is going to be sports TV firsts. So you're way behind.
Oh, great stuff there. A reminder to everybody that next week this show moves to Wednesday and will be rebroadcast on your TV at 7 p.m. on Thursday.
Yeah.
And we're excited.
Oh,
we
for
got to
sure.
invoke some new rules.
Okay.
I mean, Matt, we're going to need you to up the T-shirt game a little bit. I think we're going Hawaiian shirt.
Deal.
Oh, like Don Ho?
I got about 5 of them.
There you go. Mark, you're going to be back to the ball cap next week
don't
on
even.
television.
I know.
I shaved the dirt off my chin.
Oh, well, I'm glad to
Big first step.
hear that.
I wanted to wear a company hat today, but they all made my head look just way bigger than it already is. So I couldn't.
We
I
got
couldn't
Jordan
do
to
it.
try one on earlier. That was a good look.
Different kind of site.
You can come down here and get Capital PTBO hats all day,
Right there.
just like Matty Latour.
Absolutely. And we do want to give a little bit of a public disclaimer here in that we are looking for those who want to support the show.
Mm-hmm.
We're looking to get very much involved, and Mark, we'll pimp out your product, no problem.
So speaking of pimping out the product and the business, they call that a segue, and I know that. We've got a great promo here that runs out on the 31st of this month. You come down and buy a $25 gift card here in the store, and you get entered into a draw to win 2 Adidas jerseys, one of Connor McDavid, one of Austin Matthews, and you buy a $25 gift card here in the store, and you get your chance. There's only 25 tickets. More than half are sold now. Come on in, buy a gift card, give it to somebody you love, somebody you don't love, and grab yourself maybe the chance to win 2 jerseys.
I think that's great.
Yeah.
Gentlemen, producer Maddie, Mark Million, I'm Jordan Mercier. This has been the Capital PTBO Sports Show put together by MNC Podcast Productions.